Once a monster, always a monster. Princess Celestia slipped her tea as she listened to the words of Fable's tale as she continued to tell her story. It had been a few weeks since Fable's abusive ex-girlfriend Knockout tracked her down to Canterlot and attacked her. Her recovery had been great, and Celestia wanted to talk to her. "Why didn't you tell any point of this abuse?" she asked kindly. "Because who would believe me over Knockout, the village protector? He knew how to control me and how to hide the marks," she said, fighting back more tears. Celestia placed her cup down and dragged Wayne over Fable's shoulder. "I am so sorry you had to go through this, but Knockout will no longer be a problem." Fable sniffed. "The worst part is, I'm scared to do anything romantic with Eclipse without freaking out, and I feel so bad. He's good to me and I can't do something as simple as kiss him." "I'm sure in time you will. He can hug you without you freaking out, right?" she wondered as she brought her muzzle down to rub Fable's cheek. Fable nodded. "See, I'm sure if you take it slow, you'll move past this in no time. You'll see. Well, this was great, but unfortunately, it is now time for me to lower the sun. Please excuse me." Fable smiled and got up. "Thank you, Princess, for everything," she said and trotted off. Turning to her guard, she signed. "You can stop teasing up Eclipse. Knockout isn't going to be a problem anymore," said Celestia as they walked to her chambers. He was glaring daggers and Celestia could tell he was ready for a fight. How could this happen, Taya? How could this happen to her? First Samba, now this low-life unicorn coward? "You sent her to that village to protect her," he said angrily as Celestia grabbed the sun with her magic and began to lower it. "I don't know, Eclipse. I sent her to that village so she could have a normal life. I was hoping she would have the magical talent to be accepted to my school. That way, I can protect her until she could be awoken," Celestia said as she finished raising the moon. She floated her ears back and dropped her head as if being scolded for doing something wrong. "If I always turn her into the ponies you and I wanted, what life would she have? She would be a prisoner to our magic, unable to live the lives she did. I always intervene with her finding love in the other lives." Celestia pulled a book off the shelf, opened it, and looking at the pictures, she couldn't help but let out a tear fall. "You didn't even know what I go through every time I reset the spell," she turned towards him, the tears now flowing down her cheeks. "Yes, she is safe inside a fake body, but I lost a friend because of it, as well as Luna." Eclipse teased at the name of the lost princess and looked down, staring at his hooves. "I lost them both too, you know, and my best friend. But you are right. At least she is safe. I apologize, Taya. I was out of line." Celestia held up a hoof. No, you are right, Eclipse. Just for now, continue to watch her and help her get through this trauma," she said as Eclipse bowed and left the chamber. Celestia looked up at the moon. "I hope I'm not making a mistake again, Luna." Eclipse walked down the steps to the dungeons, walking through the heavy wooden doors as the guard inside saluted him. He returned it and motioned for him to leave. The longer guard saluted again and left, closing the doors behind him. He glared at the stallion inside who was facing the wall. "Hey!" Eclipse shouted, his voice echoing off of the empty cells. The stallion turned around and looked at him, brushes and cuts all over his sandy coat, his horn completely shallow with a dry blood mattering his forehead and the floor of his cell. "What do you want, God? Here to torture me? Well, go ahead. It doesn't affect me at all. Once my trial takes place, Fable will say it was all a misunderstanding and come on with me, and then—" "Don't you dare speak her name!" Eclipse glared as he slammed the battered unicorn against the wall with a hoof strike. "She left you and doesn't want anything to do with you." She is mine. I clearly just need to remind her not to step out of line again. And when I take her home, I'll make sure she doesn't step out of line ever again. He grinned a devilish smirk at Eclipse. Faster than Knockout could blink, Eclipse was at his throat, a sword pressed against him. Say one more bucking word and I'll gun to you, he husked. The injured unicorn gasped and merely chuckled to himself as he brought his hooves in, punching Eclipse in the sides. He shoved from the impacts and headbutted Knockout in return. Merely stunned for a few seconds, Knockout got his hind hooves up and buckled Eclipse through the doorway of the open cell and charged towards the downed guard and proceeded to body-slam him as he was getting up. But Eclipse dodged and grabbed Knockout around the throat, tackling him to the floor, holding him in a headlock. Lord Knockout, "Bug off, you bastard," Knockout growled as he tried to get out of the hold, slowly trying to shift his weight so he could throw Eclipse, but failed to as a dragger was placed at his throat. "Yank down or I will kill you," Eclipse shouted, venom dripping from the words as he slid the dragger against Knockout's throat slowly. But before he could answer, Princess Celestia slammed the doors open with her magic and separating the both of them. "That's enough, Eclipse," her tone stern as she held them in her magic. She placed Knockdown back into his cell and motioned for the mag who came in behind her to get to work. He nodded and began to heal the injured prisoner. "Your Highness, what about his horn?" the mag asked, pointing at the shards on the ground. "Gather them. Unfortunately, the damage to it. It is good and his horn will never heal completely," she turned back to Eclipse when Knockout spoke up. "Hey Princess, how about this? Just give me back what's mine and you'll never see me or the Trump ever again. Or maybe me and you can go to your chambers and I'll show you how a male should act towards a stallion," Knockout smirked as he raised his eyebrows at her. Celestia turned back to him as her horn let up and her wings spread. "She is not a Trump and you will never call her that again. She does not belong to you and you will never be taking her anywhere. How dare you insult me like that? You are nothing." The royal Canterlot voice echoed off the stone walls as his smile faded as he cowered like a fowl. Eclipse snickered as Celestia glared at him. "Return to your chambers, Eclipse. You and I will have a talk in the morning." Eclipse bowed and left the chamber, muttering to himself about how much that low-lived unicorn deserved to be hung for attacking him when a small sound caught his attention. His ears twitched in the direction of the sound. Looking towards the door he was standing by, he realized the sound was coming from Fable's room. He opened the door to see Fable laying on a bed, thrashing around. He was crying and whimpering. "Fable!" Eclipse shouted as she rushed to her side, taking her hoof in this. Touching his horn to hers, he saw that she was dreaming about. Knockout had her tail gripped in her Nara, dragging her towards the bed as she kicked and screamed, "I'm sorry, Knockout, please don't. Shut up! How dare you disobey me? You are really going to get it now." He throws her onto the bed. "Now get that ass up," he barked. Eclipse couldn't watch anymore. He pulled away from her and gently collapsed her awake. Fable shot up, screaming, "No!" and panted heavily. Eclipse wrapped his hoofs around her, hugging and stroking her mane. "It's okay, he can't hurt you anymore," he smothered as he continued to run his hoof through her mane. Fable was sobbing as she hugged back, her hoofs tempering. "I'm sorry," she gasped in between slobs. "This wasn't your fault, Fable. That lowlife took advantage of you." Fable looked at him, then looked down at the blankets and tears continued to fall. Eclipse looked at her. "Why didn't I stay with you tonight?" he said. Fable looked at him. "Aren't you still on duty?" He shook his head. "I was on my way back to my room when I heard you whimpering." His horn let up as he smelled a mannequin as he began taking off his armor and placing it on the mannequin. He then walked over to the bed and slid in next to Fable, wrapping his hooves around her, holding her close to him. With the warmth and comfort surrounding her, Fable quickly fell asleep. Eclipse smiled and said, "Sleep well, my princess. I won't let anyone hurt you."